Hey everyone, hope you're well. I've had 6 days off work now. It's been fantastic. I've had like a really restful period where we basically, I think in my head I had set days we were going to do things, but actually those days were get the boys' hairs cut, which didn't take more than an hour, and going to the cinema, which was like 2 hours. But in my head it was like Thursday is this day, Friday is this day. So um, all around that, we've just chilled out. It's just been a very, very chilled out period. But it was fun. I had a bit of a nightmare on Wednesday because Wednesday night I planned to book tickets to see Sonic the Hedgehog 2 at the cinema, and I told the boys I was booking it. And then while I was booking the tickets, the app said, "Would you like 3D glasses with that?" And I just hit back thinking, well, it's not 3D showing, is it? And it cancelled our tickets. And then when I went back through to buy them, they weren't available and the whole cinema had sold out. And I was like, how did that happen? There was loads of seats. And I kept retrying, and I told Ollie we couldn't go until the Friday. And oh my God, bless him. He was crying for hours. He was throwing a hissy fit. He was kicking the floor. He was punching the floor. He was screaming at me that I was an idiot. I was terrible. And I was just like, mate, like, I'm sorry. Like, I want to go as much as you. So to top that off, while he was kicking off, I was like, look, we'll get your hair cut tomorrow. We'll go cinema the next day. And he was like, no. So, yeah, Thursday ended up being haircut day, which I feel like was going to be this whole big military exercise. But we kind of just took him out there with like I was going to try and not bribe him. And then he was like, I'll only go if I get Robux. I was like, well, I'm not getting you Robux. You've got your subscription. It renews every month. And then just by sheer coincidence, that was the day it was renewing. So I was like, they're not in your account yet. I will check where they are once you've had your haircut. And so he saw that as a bit of all right, I've won here. I'm getting what I wanted, but actually he was getting them anyway. So in the hairdressers, he wanted Ben to go first, but they had two seats open because we'd booked, so they wanted them straight in at the same time. And we were worrying about him because he was freaking out. I'm not getting in the chair. I'll go after Ben. And the lady convinced him he could sit on the phone and do something while. I mean, we'd offered him the phone anyway, but he ended up just playing the Encanto album just loudly. The whole like that side of the hairdressers was just Encanto music. They were telling him, "Yeah, turn it up, it's fine." But I'm there thinking, "Oh, I've heard this album so many times." The lady was singing along with him. It was nice in the end. It ended up being quite a good experience. And yeah, they now look really tidy and handsome and clean, and it makes them go from being like wildling kids that look like they're gonna be eating meat from the bone on all fours, like a crouched down like an animal, whereas now they look like just tidy children. Ben looks very tidy and mature, and Ollie, he doesn't let them cut his quite short. Doesn't like it too short. He likes it to be a bit over. So we went with that. He's happy. But yeah, so that day was just a chill. We didn't do much else. I can't even remember it really at this point. I think we just lounged around it. It was Thursday. I don't do anything on Thursdays. I had nothing to really talk about on the vlog. So it was just like, meh, nothing really happening. And then Friday we went to see Sonic. I was checking my notes there. I was like, what day am I up to? Friday we went to see Sonic. Absolutely blown away by that. Really enjoyed it. It was a proper geeky kind of thing, just seeing Tails and Knuckles in a film. Absolutely loved it. The robots in it were awesome. The levels in it, the places they went to were throwbacks to levels, and that was awesome. There was a funny moment where they were chatting, and I noticed the background person was Preston from YouTube, and I was waiting to see if Ollie would notice, and suddenly Ollie was like, "That's Preston! That's Preston!" Just really excitedly shouting to me because he was a couple of seats away from me, that he'd seen Preston. I was really worrying about taking Ben to the cinema because last time he went, he was a bit of a nightmare. He wanted to just get up and run around. He wasn't really interested in sitting still for 2 hours, bless him, because he was like 3, 4. He wasn't very old. So we told him he needed to stay in his chair. I spent the whole time on the way in being anxious about it and getting a bit like trying to burn some of his energy off, showing him round the outside, the foyer of the cinema, letting him look at things while holding my hand, reminding him he needed to just sit still. And then in the film itself, I was the only one who ended up getting up. I'd been preparing them. If you need the toilet, you got to go to the toilet. Blah 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 blah. And then an hour in, I'm like, oh my God, we've been here forever. I really need to go. And yeah, everyone else in the family managed to just last a 2-hour film, but I ended up getting up. I reckon I just worked myself up. I think I can't handle it in long films. I'm thinking when I go see Doctor Strange next month, for example, I'm just gonna have to try and be super chilled before it. I work myself up into a bit of a frenzy. Like, I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss anything. And then I convince myself I have to go out, and well, it's just ridiculous. I need to get over it. Got like Doctor Strange in May and Thor in July, I think. Maybe if I misunderstood the advert, then I might have got the dates wrong, but I'm sure it's July. But yeah, two big films coming up, so I do need to be cinema ready for that. Looking forward to it. Saturday and Sunday, we went to Claire's mum's Saturday and my mum's Sunday, which was nice. We had a Chinese at Claire's mum's. I ate so many mushrooms, it was ridiculous. Like, I reckon I must have eaten all the mushrooms in Deeping on Saturday. It was I was absolutely stuffed. And then Sunday we went to my mum's and bless her, she always puts on like a bit of a lunch buffet type thing, and there was just so much vegetarian food. I feel like I left there just being absolutely rammed with food. I was heaving. Got loads of Easter eggs. It was quite funny as well that Saturday night, Ollie was just like, "I'm so excited! It's Easter Sunday tomorrow. I can't wait." It was like Christmas Eve level of excitement for him. The other two were just like meh. He was so giddy. He came running in on Sunday morning. It's Easter Sunday. We took him downstairs and got out all the Easter eggs. He's like, "Oh, thank you so much, really." And we were like, "These aren't from us. Ours hadn't arrived. Ours arrived today. We ordered some off Cadbury and they ran late. Bless them. So it wasn't their fault. We ordered it late, whatever." So all the ones on the table were from my sister and my mother-in-law because we were going to my mum's that day. So he's all like, "Oh, you bought us so much. This is amazing." And we were like, "Ours ain't even here, mate. This is what your aunt sent you and the Easter egg your nan gave you." I think one of them, we'd bought them one each, like separately, because we knew everything was running late and we weren't sure what they were getting. So they're inundated with chocolate. It's absolutely ridiculous how much they've ended up with. My mum bought them some. They've gone out today because my mum, as well as getting them an egg, she gave them some money to spend. So they've gone out today to take Ollie and Emily are going to the comic shop to see what comics they can buy, and Ben's going to a toy shop to see what toys he can buy, which sounds like a nice sort of afternoon out for them. I'm dreading to think what Ben's going to come back with, because my office, or the office, but it is my office. We always say the office, or correct it when I say my office, but the office that we're in is like my computer stuff, my background bit here, a TV with my PlayStation on it, and then a whole load of Ben's toys just in a massive pile. And I'm thinking, I haven't got much more room for Ben's toys. If Ben gets more toys, it's just going to overflow it. So, yeah, I'm wondering what he'll come back with today. I'm hoping it'll be something small, very small, hopefully. He's also suddenly going through a phase of being absolutely obsessed with Pokemon Go, which I haven't encouraged at all. I was kind of ordered by Claire not to get him into it. And then Saturday, he wanted to go on it. And Claire was like, "Look, we'll go on it, but we're walking to Nanny's in a bit, so you can go on it then." So he was like desperate to walk to his Nan's to play Pokemon Go on the way. And they caught stuff and all of this. And I was just like, okay, I like this. Soon I'm going to be back to that point when Ollie was little. I would take him, I'd drive around and we'd do raids and we'd park up and we'd catch Pokemon. And he's grown out of that a bit now. Whereas if Ben's at that age where he's going to quite enjoy it, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. I can relive my Pokemon Go heyday. So yeah, that's generally been our weekend. It's been really nice. It's been really chilled. We solved a bit of a problem that Claire and I have been disagreeing on a lot lately, and it's been causing not massive, well, some arguments, but mainly because we were disagreeing on. She really wants a holiday. She's knackered, bless her. She's absolutely knackered from work. The kids were knackered, and I was kind of holding off because we went to Cornwall last year, and while it was really fun, we were ill while we were there, and then I came back so tired. It took me like a month to recover. It was ridiculous. And I was like, the holiday before that we went on, it was the same thing. And I said to her, "Look, I really understand, and I really want to rest. I really want to go away, but I do not want to write off a month because I've gone away for a week. I don't want to go away for a week and come back basically dead and hate it. I'll get anxious the whole way there. I'll be anxious the whole time, and I'll be upset because I'm so knackered." And I was like, I don't want that. So we were having a bit of butting heads on it a bit because we couldn't find a happy compromise, and so she kept like coming up with holiday suggestions, and I'd be like, "We've talked about this. I can't do it." And now she's suggested a Haven type one where you go stay in like a caravan for a couple of days, that kind of thing. But I know it's quite an obvious option, but the difference this time is it's more contained. The kids will go swimming. I can just be adjacent to that and read for a bit on the sides, jump in if I want to, probably won't. That kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, this feels more my level now. There's stuff for them to do. Before it was like we went to this place and there was stuff to do, but we didn't do it. We drove off an hour to the beach. We drove off an hour to the Eden Project. We drove off an hour to a massive market. Everything we wanted to do was an hour away. And I was kind of like, I can't hack this. This is too much. And it wasn't really getting... Not getting through, because Claire understood that, but she was like, "What do you want to do? Like, we've got to entertain the kids." And so that's why we were coming to this bit of misalignment, which I feel like we've cracked a bit now. It was funny the moment she was sort of suggesting it. It felt like it just solved a lot of stuff. She's come up with a holiday plan. It might not be Haven that we go to. It's just she's given me some places that she was looking at, and there's just a lot of balance. Like we can be there while the kids are doing something, but we can chill out. And that's what I kept saying to her. I wanted something where they were being entertained while we were there, because that's how I remember my holidays being as a kid. I'd be, I don't know, at the front while some entertainer was dancing and singing and playing games, while my parents were having a beer behind at the bar or reading a book or whatever it was. And our holidays never seem to be like that. Our holidays always seem to be I'm permanently on kid duty until the point where they fall asleep, and then I fall asleep because I'm knackered, and because they're Oliver's uncomfortable. One of us ends up sleeping in his room with him and Ben, and it's very disjointed and haphazard and chaotic. And I know I sound like I'm moaning, but they're not very comforting, relaxing scenarios. That's the problem. You're basically paying the best part of $1,000 to be knackered for a week and ruin the next month afterwards. And that's what my kind of point was always. This is a lot of money, a lot of effort to just wind up worse off, and that shouldn't be how it works. I was like, that no one else is going on these holidays with this happening. Like no one else other than maybe all the other autism families out there going through that. But for me, it was just a massive cause of burnout, and I feel like we've finally come up with a plan and an idea. And I won't always be like that. I'm not saying I don't. I mean, my mum's worrying about me because I said I don't like going outside. I've never liked going outside. That's been like a 36-year long thing. I don't like being outdoors. I'm not an outdoorsy person. I went through a bit of a phase when I was a teenager of quite enjoying. We used to go exploring the pits in Grays, climbing up. I mean, God, if my mum knew the vertical cliff edges that I was climbing up with my friends, with no kit, just climbing with my hands and sliding down a almost vertical slope just to get from A to B. I'm surprised I didn't die, honestly. But now I'm older. I mean, I don't even go in our garden. I don't like it. I mean, Claire was mowing the lawn at the weekend, and I was like, okay, it looks slightly tidier and less chaotic out there now. But I just don't like it. I walk out there and bugs are landing on me and all sorts, and I'm like, no, get away from me. This is disgusting. So that's something that we've sorted. We're looking at some sort of go away for a bit of break, which we won't be too chaotic, which will be nice. I'm looking forward to that. That's great. I think we're almost looking to do it straight after Comic-Con. So I'll go to Comic-Con for a couple of days, be kind of sociable, build up a bit of energy, to build up a bit of momentum, and then go on this little sort of 3-4 day break, and then come home from that feeling quite good, which should be nice, should be handy, should be the right way to go about it. I might actually go into June feeling pretty good, but we'll see what happens. The only other thing I really wanted to mention was I talked about the dog the other week. The smell from her is just awful and overwhelming and blah blah blah. Two things on that. I remembered that charcoal dog treats exist, and have started giving her them, which has helped a little bit, because charcoal basically absorbs smells and badness, I guess. So whatever it is causing it, we think it's like a tumor and that kind of thing. Whatever the smell is, the charcoal's kind of helping a bit. That's been nice. But on top of that, what's quite funny is that my father-in-law stayed over the other week. And I didn't speak to him afterwards. I didn't see him. He'd gone home by the time we got home because he'd sorted the dog out, and then he went home afterwards. But he stayed over to watch the dog. And so when we caught up on Saturday, I was mentioning that she's just getting worse and worse. And he said, I didn't even notice the smell when I was there. There wasn't a smell. And we were like, what? You spent like 24 hours with her. Like, there was definitely a smell. So I mentioned that to my dad in joking. I was like, he came around the other day and he was like, oh, yeah, there is a smell. And when I said to him, Claire's dad can't even smell it, he was like, well, all I smelled was a dog smell. It just smelled like a dog had been in the room and it was a hot day. And I was like, that's not the smell. Are you two telling me you can't smell the smell? So then I was chatting to Claire and she was like, the kids can't smell it either. They don't know what we're on about. And I was like, what are you saying? So apparently Claire and I can smell this smell that's the worst smell ever, but our parents can't smell it and the kids can't smell it. And that means the man who come and fixed our freezer, who was like, I don't know what you're on about. He come in and I was like, look, you're going to have to excuse the dog. She's not well. And he was like, genuinely don't know. He was like, I don't know what you mean. And I just thought he was being polite. I just thought, all right, that's how it's going to be. I'll open the door. You wear your mask. Job's a good one. But he was like, I don't know what you mean. It's fine. And so now I'm feeling like if Claire couldn't smell it, I would think I was going mad. Although I know that heightened sensory stuff is probably the reason why it's so bad for me. But we can smell it like through the door, and it's driving, and it's not a dog smell. It's not just a normal dog smell. I said to my dad, I was like, "You go in his house, you can smell his dogs. That's not the same." I don't know. But then I used to say that people smelled like they had a cold, and people never used to know what I was getting on about. My memory of my year four teacher at primary school was that she always smelled like she had a cold, and people just don't know what I mean. It's like an acidy smell, but people would be like, "I don't know what you're on about," and I'm like, "No, she just always smelled like she had a cold." I had a friend who always smelled like cabbage when we were at secondary school as well, and people said he didn't, but I was like, he definitely does. Which it sounds awful now. It sounds like I was slagging him off, but I think I just mentioned it later, and they're like, I don't remember that. And I'm like, yeah, he just constantly smelled of cabbage, and his house smelled of cabbage, and I just always found it really odd that they all smelled of cabbage. Cabbage people, don't know, but apparently the smell's not as bad as we think it is, and only Claire and I can sense it. And maybe we've just been in the house too long with her, and it's just become a thing for us. But I'm relieved no one else can smell it as bad. I'm relieved that it just seems to be bothering us. Although I wish it wasn't bothering me. I wish I was just like, Claire, you're mad. There's no smell, because it is a proper awful smell. The dog's still doing all right though, bless her. She's ticking along. We were discussing the other day. She keeps having like dips and rises again, and I said to Claire, like, I genuinely don't know what to expect at this point. We thought we were saying goodbye to her, and she's just had her birthday. She's turned 16, and she's just like, yeah, she could be here in 6 months. It's absolutely confusing, but at least it's not ruining anybody else's noses. It's just me and Claire suffering with this rancid smell. And as I say, if we couldn't both vouch for it and describe it in exactly the same way, I would think we were going mad, but we're not apparently. So yeah, that is your lot. I hope you're all well. Let me know how your Easter's been. Let me know how your week's been. As I mentioned on Twitter, that I keep kind of getting to Thursday and thinking, well, nothing happened between Tuesday and Thursday. So I need to start coming up with a better routine, or doing a random video or something like that. And I don't want to stop vlogging or stop doing YouTube, but I need to figure out a better routine with it all, and have better things to talk about. And right now I'm going through this kind of odd phase where the stuff I'm doing is less things that I could do YouTube about, really. I've just been working on a game with people, which I'll talk about when it comes out. I worked on the comic, which I talked about. I'm not sure about reading. I was going to record me reading out the 44-word poem thing that I wrote, and then I was like, it just feels really wangy. I got other things I want to potentially work on, but I also just need to sort myself out in general. I've got a few things I'm talking to Claire about, just trying to sort out. I'm starting a CBT, I think a CBT, some sort of therapy thing in May, which I'll talk about that. I'm nervous about how that works, because I've been told that they don't really work for autistic people. And when I've done stuff like this in the past, it's always been really like, try and switch off your mind and stop thinking. And I'm like, my God, if I could do that, I'd have done that by now, So I'm not really expecting it to help much, but I'll cover it when I can. The only other thing that happened, I'll wrap up after this because it's quite funny. I've just remembered it. I feel guilty bringing this up, but I returned something to Amazon. I have this razor, the one I use to shave my head like that, and it broke. And a big old rant at Amazon said, look, this keeps breaking, not impressed. You're going to have to replace it. And they're like, it's out of its return period. And I was like, nope, not having that. You got to take it back. And they were like, okay, send it back. So I sent it back. And as I sent it back, Claire said to me, by the way, your razor fell off the shelf the other day. I hope it's not broken. And I was like, I've just returned it. I've just been having a go at Amazon about it. Like, I just told them how unacceptable it was, and that they need to send, they need to stop selling such. Because I don't think the part that broke. I was nervous that it arrived in like a see-through pack, and I thought this is probably not a first-party version. It's broke, but it was working before that. So I now genuinely don't know whether it broke because it was shoddy or broke because it fell off a shelf. It probably broke because it fell off a shelf because it was the same day. But Amazon has been like, yeah, we'll just give you the money, buy it again. So I'm going to buy another one. If that arrives in different packaging, I'll feel more vindicated. But I do feel a little bit like, oh, I was really stern with the person on the customer service that I wasn't accepting no because it had broken and blah, blah, blah. Turns out it just fell off the shelf. And I was like, oh, whoops. So I feel a bit mean. But yeah. Good job it's Amazon. If it had been like a local business, I'd have felt really guilty. But Amazon less so. That I feel like there's no real issue there. I'm gonna buy it back, that kind of thing. So they're not gonna lose money. I'm gonna get an item that's not off. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up there. Let me know how you're getting on. Comment down below, all the usual stuff. I'd like to hear from you all. And yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers.